Hello, 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 LinkedIn on a Thursday. How are we all today? I am very, very excited today. I am trying not to jump up and down on my little sofa because today I have a very special guest in the LinkedIn Live Lounge. I have the one and only singing content creator, Ryan Anderson.
Hello, hello.
Welcome
know,
to Ryan.
Sarah, I was going to make an entrance, but I see that we came on screen at the same time. So bearing in mind your post earlier today, where apparently you have a fear of clowns, I thought you were going to be on screen on your own, and then it was going to cut to me, and I was going to be going like this. Just taking off my clown makeup, but fine. I'll use that. That gag's done. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolute pleasure. I know the whole clown thing's really weird, and I didn't realize I had a thing about clowns until I was well into my mid to late 20s, and I went to see a clown show, Strava clown show or something, and I sat there and I just, this is horrible. This is really awful. I'm really not enjoying this. I feel a bit sick. And I had to walk out and left all my friends there. But I didn't realize I had this clown phobia. So it must be something way back from when I was little and used to go.
When you watched It or something silly like that. And I mean, because clowns can be pretty scary.
Yeah, they can be pretty scary. And maybe I had a bad experience because we used to have the circus used to come to our town and there would be a lot of clowns there. And I think I do remember sitting on the front row once with my mum and my brothers. And yeah, and I think something weird must have happened at that clown show. I probably fell off the stool or something, you know.
Well, I'm sorry for bringing that childhood trauma back to the surface today.
That's absolutely fine. I was quite proud of myself actually for how I've handled the day. So
well done.
So Ryan, I am really, really excited to have you here for lots and lots of reasons. And actually, the first question I always ask my guests, which I haven't prepared you for, but how did we bump into each other?
Gosh,
I did.
Maybe this isn't a question we should have asked because well, you know what? To be fair, a lot of my I was going to say I don't know, but actually I think John Espirian is responsible. He's got a lot to answer for one way or another because I think there are a lot of people who are in his community, and I wrote a song for him going back a couple of years now, and he shared that. And I think, I got a few, made a few new friends because of that. And it may well have been you are one of those, because I do remember you used to really be in the comments there every time I did a song. So, yeah, I suspect it was around John Espirian, of course.
I think so. And I think lots and lots of my LinkedIn contacts have come from John, actually, which makes me, I sort of always say this to people. It's important that you try to remember where you met somebody on LinkedIn, because it helps you understand what the platform is and how it works, because it is a network. It's a huge, huge network of people. And I always do this sort of analogy where we start like this and we just get bigger and bigger, and it's a bit like a cobweb. And that's the wonder of LinkedIn, isn't it, really?
It is. And, here's a little, just made this up sort of on the spot kind of thing that you could do, because unless you're someone with a whole CRM system and all that sort of stuff, but I use bookmarks in different ways to bookmark my posts, the date and time I post them, so I can search and find them myself, rather than the awful system that LinkedIn has for bookmarking posts. But what you could probably do is, when you connect, if you're someone who's not one of the doesn't have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of followers, and you can actually spare the time to note why you connected with someone or something about them, you could bookmark their profile or a post or something where you interacted with that person. And in the bookmark description, you can write whatever you want about it and then have that in a folder. So that's all in sort of, Google sort of up there, sort of folder system and everything. So you could have a system, if you wanted, to arrange your connections in ways that might help you remember something. But That was just something I made up on the spot. I'm not saying it's a great idea.
No, I like that because, and actually, when I'm working with the clients, so last night I was at an in-person networking event, which was great fun. We did a kind of escape room thing. It was really good fun. A company called Onigo, Onigo, who do these sort of gaming in person and online games, and so they were hosting this this sort of escape room thing, which was fantastic, really good fun. And I said to people there, you know, when you connect with anybody, even if you're standing right next to them, add the note and say where you met. So, you know, met you at the Onigo event, so that you will always remember, both of you will always remember, because that's your first message, and you can always scroll up to the top and see where you first met somebody. And somebody said, but I'm standing right next to them, you know, I know that they're here. And but I said, but yeah, but in 2 years' time you might forget, so put it there.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been to a couple of events where you bump into someone and it's kind of embarrassing because you both know that you know each other. And I've even had people have conversations with me literally the day before, and you meet them and they look at you like, who are you? Yeah. And so I do think, you know, the more we grow our connections, and even this word connections and everything, I think that it's very much a numbers game for so many people now, where we're trying to just get those numbers up, get those numbers up. You know, you follow someone and you think, oh my goodness, Sarah's up to this many followers and connections now, and I'm only here. And it gets crazy. I mean, what does any of that mean if they're not meaningful, valuable connections? So I think you could just play the numbers game and connect. But yeah, I don't connect with a lot of, I think I took a page out of Karen Tisdale's book, where she specifically connects with people in Australia because that makes sense for her. And so I try to think strategically, would this person likely be a client, or is there something I can learn from them? I try to see what value there is, and obviously what value I can bring. And if that makes sense, I'll connect and DM them. But if not, I won't.
Absolutely. And as you pointed out, it's not just about whether they could be a client, it's whether you could learn from them or help each other in some way, or that you find them interesting and you just want to be there, have them in your network and be their friend, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, Ryan, banishing the boring is what your mission is. I love this. So tell me, what's boring? What does boring look like?
Well, yeah, boring could actually, here's the funny thing about boring, okay? It's pick a genre of music and you will have a bunch of rabid fans and a bunch of haters. And how can these two groups of people love and hate the exact same thing equally, it seems? And I think when it comes to boring, it's the same kind of thing. So you've got people out there who are putting out seemingly all they do is what we've come to term as carousel posts. We know they're document posts, yes, but you know, I wonder if LinkedIn will ever change and call them carousel posts because of what people call them. But regardless, you've got people who put out very smart, very attractive looking, very engaging document / carousel posts. But if that's all you see from that person, and all of the things are, you know, 7 ways I grew this, 6 things I did for that, 5 things that, you know, it becomes boring. It's all you see. Now, I'm speaking for myself. Of course, we all have our own definition of boring and what we find boring. But for me, if I'm only seeing that same topic, that same, as in it's blatantly the same, see, because part of my mission, right, is to banish boring. So that is going to somehow be evident, I hope, in everything that I do. At the very least, if I'm talking about a book that I read, the way I'll talk about it is hopefully not boring. It's interesting. So I think I don't mind if people are talking about the same things, of course, but it's how they do it. Are they mixing it up? Are they using some video? You know, I'm yet to see a copywriter use video to talk about their copywriting. All you see is the written posts, because they obviously are showing that they are copywriters. Fair enough. But as we move into more and more AI, we're going to want to see, at least some of us will want to see real people and real personalities that we can engage with. So boring, I think, is monotony, just the same thing again and again. You're not mixing it up, or you're delivering it the same way as someone else. You see the way they do their carousel. I'm just going to call them carousels for the sake of what people use.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, everyone who's a LinkedIn aficionado. But basically, but yeah, so you'll find that it all starts to look the same. Everyone's carousels start to look the same. Everyone's banners start to look the same. You know, and I'm guilty of this. I've gone and looked at people who have got 250,000 followers. I look at how they structure their page, you know, and I think, okay, what can I learn from that? But then I'm playing into it. I'm actually just feeding that beast, and I am just being the same. So I think the whole idea is you can look at what people are doing, and if you've got 7 apples, maybe be the orange. See what you can do that is going to be, oh no, orange. I just realized. There you go. Well, Sarah is the orange and the purple.
No, I absolutely agree that, you know, with what you're saying. And having said that, I have got a lovely, beautiful carousel post all ready to go tomorrow. However, I don't only produce carousel posts. I'm actually just going to pause for a sec because we have a question. So Kim Willis. Now, I'm going to tell you who Kim is, because Kim is my social media manager. And I know it sounds a bit weird that I have a social media manager, but I do, because what Kim does is she takes what I've written and repurposes it and makes it look different and sort of smell slightly different and feel slightly different. And having Kim coming in and helping me with that has helped me make my content different and make it appear in different ways. So Kim has actually asked a really valuable question. Hello, Kim. What are your top tips for thinking about content topics differently?
Content topics. Okay, so you've got these different so some people call them buckets, categories, you know, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes I think about them in terms of Netflix. So if everything you do were to be Netflix, you can think of your content as a TV series. And within your TV series, so you might have, for example, let's say you post 7 days a week, as some people do. You have seven TV series, okay, Monday to Sunday. And then each series has seasons. So you could say, well, in season 1 of Lost, they stumbled around the jungle for ages, and you know, it's about the black smoke monster and what is it and what are we doing here. Season 2 of Lost is this. So you can have story arcs within your series. So think of a season as a story arc that is part of a series. So your series could be that you are talking about how to use a camera. And maybe so that's your series. Your season could be confidence, and you are going to have several episodes on confidence. Then season 2 is going to be planning. Season 3 is going to be, so that's how you can break those down. So I think that's one way to think about them, is from the top, you've got your Netflix-esque thing made up of different shows, made up of different seasons. And then vary the delivery within those. So you want to have some video, some images, some text. I don't like posting text only, just because visually stuff grabs my attention, and with text you're relying solely upon the hook. But try the different things, try the different styles, and there are lots of ways even within that. So within your text, you could say, am I going to use emojis more this time? Am I going to try a heading in capital, you know, uppercase? If I do video, am I going to have background music? If I have background music, am I going to have sound effects? You know, am I going to do one of those things when it's a drop the mic moment and you get the record scratch? You know, so just think about each of those things and think, how far can you take them? So it's almost like that yes and that you hear people talk about in acting. I think that's the thing that actors do. But basically, Okay, so I don't need to repeat it, do I? But the whole Netflix and then all the way
Yeah.
down, and think of them as shows. And also another thing, by the way, so Lost, action, adventure, suspense, whatever that happens to be. But you also want some comedy. Well, that's another series. So you really have lots of ways of mixing and matching to get, a nice blend.
I love that. I love how you've taken it kind of as a big strategy and then sort of split it down into little parts, because that makes it seem much more manageable, but also it gives you a focus for when you're working out what to write about next or film next or create next. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Thanks
Now
for the question.
before we go any further, so Kim loves it too. Before we go any further, I would like to say that if you hang on here, listeners and viewers, you will hear Ryan's new song, which he has written specially for us today. But I'm going to keep that for a little bit later on, keeping an eye on the time. Next question. Ryan, why is it so important to have a good content strategy? Why should we do this? Why should we post good quality content? What does it do for us?
One way of thinking about that is thinking of it as a skeleton or a spine. Without that, we would just fall as this awful mess onto the floor. And if you post haphazardly and you're just trying this, trying that, and by the way, I speak from experience with all this stuff because I've made all the mistakes, I've tried all the things, and so I'm not saying this in judgment, but rather, I've got the war wounds to say this. But basically, your strategy has got to make sense. So overall, what are your objectives? What do you want to achieve as an individual, as a business? And then think, okay, how does my content serve my goals? So does every piece of content serve my goals? Now, I think it's absolutely okay to have the fun doesn't seemingly serve anything. I'm at the beach, had a lovely time, all that sort of stuff. I think one of those every now and again just shows a little more personality, even though I still think people need to show more personality in their professional content. But you can certainly mix it up. But I think you have to think about your objectives as an individual, as a business. I say as an individual and as a business purely because thinking of, the solopreneur. But if you're thinking of yourself as a business, if you're wanting to make money, you're wanting to get clients, you need a strategy that is kind of like your skeleton, that it carries you through, and without it, everything falls apart. So your content has to be true to that. What's the purpose of your arm? What's the purpose of your leg? If I put that content out there, what's it going to achieve for me? And the other thing is, in the effort to banish boring from our content creation, we have to be a little bit harsh on ourselves from time to time and think, okay, hold on, I've got to judge my content now. Because I am guilty of posting something and getting no reactions and deleting it. I've done that before. I've let it go until the next time I post, and I didn't really get, I'll try twice. Okay, I'll try twice. Oh, okay, you know what? Those first two didn't do much. I'm not doing it again. But had I done it a third, fourth, fifth time, who knows? There are lots of reasons why something seemingly doesn't do well right out the gate. So I think the idea, though, of this skeleton and knowing what you're aiming for and making sure that whatever you do try, however long you try, give yourself a bit of time, but however long you try, as long as it makes sense for your overall objectives. So for me, I want to banish boring. Everything I do has to show that or practice what I preach in some way.
Brilliant. I love that. Yes. So there needs to be a purpose. And you were talking about posting pictures of you on, well, not necessarily on the beach, because not everybody would want that, but personal content. And I think the reason I think personal content is important, not too much, but because people work with people and they need to see who we are. So there is an element certainly of that. And I love the thing about keep on going and keep on going. So every Monday morning I post a video, and it started out an idea of what you can post about this week. Sometimes I sort of veer from that slightly. And the engagement, I'm always little bit disappointed with the engagement on those posts, but I'm continue. And what's happening now is when I meet people in person, the first thing they say is, oh my gosh, you're just how you are on video. So I'm already closer to that person. There's already a trust has started to build up because
Absolutely.
they've seen me on video. And the same with you. There's no surprises when we meet you. We know what you sound like. We know that you can sing. We know what kind of personality you are because you're there on video. And, people say to me, I wait for your Monday morning videos now. I look out for them because I've been doing it regularly every single Monday for probably over a year now. And it's valuable to people. And talking video, we have another question in from our audience.
Okay.
So this is from Debesh Chowdhury. Hello, Debesh. Nice to see you here. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. What do you think about very short movie posts on LinkedIn?
Okay, so this is one of those things where people use the word movie in different ways. So I know some people who, if it's 2 minutes long, they say we put out a series of movies and they're 2 minutes long. On LinkedIn Learning, they often say in the first movie, they refer to, a lot of the course instructors refer to their videos as movies, which is rather interesting. So I would just say, let's make sure we're on the same page. But if we just say short video content, okay, if that's all that really means, with all of these things, so I've got a love-hate relationship with the algorithm. I think it's mostly hate. But I think one of the things is, we're told this is the kind of top content you should create. So what happens? Everyone creates it. So the algorithm favors it because no one's creating anything else. So text posts are favored. Okay, but what if everybody started making video? The algorithm would have no choice but to do something about the video. So I would say you have to be true to yourself and the kind of how you show up comfortably and naturally. If you're great on camera and if you love telling stories with video, you don't even have to be the face on camera. It could be you're using, stock footage, any kind of video that's not your face and not your voice. But I would say go for it. You've got to make sure that there's a point to it, that there's a call to action at the end, that someone's learning something. You're giving them something to do or to think about at the end of it. And because we prefer short content on social media over long content, short is better. So if you can get something, to even be under a minute, well, the great thing about that is you can use that in multiple places. So you can do reels and shorts, and which is great. So think about how you can get your content into truly bite-sized chunks. And then the good thing is you can take one piece of content and split that out over 5 days. A 5-minute video, so to speak, a 5-minute telling of something could be told in 5 parts. So each one, I would say should be able to stand alone, by the way, because obviously someone tuning into video 2 hasn't seen video 1 and so on. But short video posts, I want to say video. I don't know if Debesh has said anything more in the comments to qualify what he means by movie, but absolutely go for short. And I think the more we actually do, the more video we put onto LinkedIn, the more we tell LinkedIn that video actually matters.
Yes, that this is what we want. This is what we want to see. Yeah, no, that's a really valid point, actually. It's like when polls first came out, everybody was putting out polls because they were so easy and they were getting terrific amounts of engagement. And then everybody was like, not another flipping poll. Can you please stop this? And they, LinkedIn had to proactively change the algorithm to slightly downgrade them. So we saw less of them. Wow, this is amazing, Ryan. So much juicy stuff. So I'm aware of time. I'm going to quickly ask you one more question, and then I want to hear the song. And I will explain to people how the song came about, because I haven't actually heard it yet, so I'm very excited. What are the biggest hurdles that you see with people being creative? And actually, that's also a question in the audience. any tips for when you don't have that creativity? So it's the same question, I suppose, for people who are really stuck on creativity. What do you think they could do to get over that?
Okay, so this is specifically about creativity, right? Like, okay, because I think there was the way you started asking, it got my brain going in two different directions. So ultimately, tips if you're stuck, right? You're basically, you've got creative constipation, for lack of a better term. So what you, yeah. So look, for me, creativity comes from all around me. So, and I'm going to say some things that people are going to be, of course, we know this, and I think personally, by the way, sometimes you have to hear things a few times from different people. There's not very much that I hear that is truly brand new. It's just a new lick of paint or a slightly different angle and that sort of thing. So look around, scroll through what people are posting about. Do you have an opinion that's the same, but you would say it differently? Do you have a different opinion? Great. You can respond right there where that's happening, but you can also note that idea down I realize I'm speaking quickly now purely because of time. I don't mind if we overrun, but I know you're a stickler.
We overrun a little bit. That's fine.
So purely just taking a look at what people are commenting on, posting and what the comments are, and thinking, well, what would I say about that? Because you can actually take those. I've many times written something that ends up dangerously hitting novella status, and like, that was far too long. I actually need to, that's a post. I'll do a post about that sometime. And another thing is, if you see, and I can't remember what the link is, maybe we can put it in the chat afterwards, but if you see, or show notes and everything on LinkedIn, you can take a look at the AI driven expert collaborative posts that are going on, where you get this thing saying, you have been selected. Like, wow, me?
Articles, yes.
Oh, wow. The LinkedIn gods are shining down upon, So basically, you can find those where they exist in categories. And when you click on one, especially if you are, if you win the lottery to comment on one of those things, it actually gives you prompts about how to think about the topic. So you could have, so if, for example, it was, what would you say to someone who's never posted a video before? Now, you could ask me that, and I've got no prompts. I just got to use my brain. But no, LinkedIn actually is even giving you the answers right there, which is kind of crazy. But you can use that, and you can think, well, what would I do? And take each of those little things, and it can become a post. So, read books. I realize I'm focusing just on LinkedIn. Read books. Look at other industries and think, how can I take that industry and apply it to my industry? Is there something that happens in fashion that doesn't happen in legal? How do people look after animals, and what do they do with their animals, and how can I apply that to music? I have no idea, right? But it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mix and match. Put, it's almost like pulling something out of a hat. What would I say about that? And sometimes, just by the way, you could hop on a call with a friend. Sorry, Sarah. You could hop on a call with a friend and say, okay, I want you to ask me a bunch of questions about what you know that I do. Okay, so make sure it's someone that you know. Give them your description. Ask them to look at your LinkedIn profile. Hop on a call with them and say, fire away. Because I think we give our best answers often when they're not prepared. And that's one of the things I do with my clients, is I hop on such a call and I prepare questions and I let it happen on the fly. And after that call, I have at least 20 pieces of content for them that they can use for a month from just talking to me. So it's that sort of thing where it's all in there. You just need someone to sort of unplug it a little bit.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. And actually what you said has kind of made me think that you can use AI to get ideas. And I do this, and I think a lot of people do, go to AI and say, I'm a photographer. Can you give me some ideas, 10 ideas for LinkedIn posts? Absolutely. Write them yourself, write the posts yourself, because I don't believe that AI can do that effectively for us. And we want to, people want to see your own personality, but getting ideas from AI, I think is a really good idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was, that is, of course, we know that it's right there. And I thought, if I say AI, what are people going to think? But absolutely, I mean, so I actually now have a paid ChatGPT account because I wanted to experiment with what it does with images and analyzing of documents and things. And just as an example, I took a government policy about something that is seemingly, this is British government, that is seemingly written to confuse. And I put the link in ChatGPT and I said, write this for a 12-year-old, please. Well, it gave me the 7 steps, the 7 things like, okay, cool. That I know that I need to focus at that level if I'm going to try to speak to government about something and blah, blah, blah. Then what I could do is I could say, for those 7 things, I want you to help me draft a letter because here are my areas of concern. How would I write? So absolutely, you could take that and say, give me, if I'm going to hop on LinkedIn or YouTube and I want to speak about this topic that's near and dear to me, give me ideas about this topic. And you'll know that you can speak about all of them, but you just need someone to unlock those ideas. And ChatGPT is a great way of doing that. And then you can say to it, well, break this into a beginning, a middle, and an end with a call to action.
Yeah,
you do all of the thinking and the writing and the talking, but you're just getting it. It's like that friend who's there, who knows almost everything and can help pull it out of you.
Exactly. And not all of the ideas will be appropriate necessarily, but you will get some to give you.
Yeah, you just ignore, right? There's no obligation for you to. This is what people keep saying. Some people, I have to say to people, like a default, I could get on a shirt saying, you do not have to copy and paste the answer. Or people's concerned about, how can I trust the answer? It's like, well, look, if you're a marketer and you're asking for marketing content ideas and you can't trust the answer, then maybe you're not a very good marketer. Maybe. You should know this already. It's more about getting ideas. It's not about getting the content.
Absolutely, I agree. And if your friend says to you, this is a really great idea, and you don't think it is, if ChatGPT or AI gives you an idea and you don't want to use it, there's no emotion involved. It's so much easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. Now, we're getting to the very exciting part of hearing the song. So for those of you who don't know Ryan, you need to go. I don't say this very often, but you really do need to go and follow Ryan and go through his feed and listen to his songs because they're brilliant. And not only are Ryan's songs amazing, the way he makes the videos and he puts GIFs in there and images in there and clips from movies in there. Oh, they're absolutely brilliant. They're a pure delight. We haven't got those today. We have purely the song, which Ryan has just written the song after asking me what were my 3 favorite songs. Was that right?
Yeah. So could you give me 3? Can you hear me okay from this distance, by the way? Because this is the microphone over there. Yeah. Yeah. It was yesterday. You said, "Are you going to sing, or can you sing or something?" So I do like a challenge, and I said, "Give me an idea." Sorry, give me bands you like or songs you like, and I listened to all of them, and I settled on an ABBA one. And so, I've written something to the tune of "Take a Chance on Me."
Brilliant. Ryan Anderson. I'm going to introduce. Oh, go on.
Yeah, well, just to say, I think maybe I will, as we said, just pre-live, post the song separately. So what I did just before this live was I recorded this and gave it subtitles, because something that can be difficult to pick up on, depending on the quality of this and recording, is sometimes you think, what was that word that you said? And this is not the slowest of songs, although I will try to play it slower. Okay, but I will perhaps post it separately, and you can read what I'm saying separately. Okay, and hopefully you'll understand. Hopefully it'll be clear enough.
Fantastic. Yeah? Ryan Anderson, banisher of boring content. Take it away.
Okay. There's probably going to be a mistake at some point, right? Because it's live. Here we go. If you're watching live, this is my first time singing for the Queen, Sarah Clay, I mean. Can you see she simply glows, never see her frown? There's a lot she states and knows she deserves her crown. She is on her throne, purple orange, how she's known, sunny and breezy. Sarah Clay is queen. If you need her to suggest what to share online, let her Monday Post digest inside your mind. Sarah Clay is queen. She's like a dose of caffeine.
Oh my goodness me. I can hear the audience clapping. I wish I'd recorded, actually. I should have recorded a...
Well, that's okay. It's I mean, it is recorded, isn't it? Because it's live, so you will at least have...
Oh, Ryan, I'm so moved by that. Thank you so much. That's really...
Your Majesty.
I need to find a crown now, don't I? And wear it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Ryan, where can we find you?
Right here.
Yikes.
Right here, right here, right on LinkedIn, of course, because if this is heard by people who are not on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Ryan Mark Anderson. So you can find me right here. This is my favorite place to be. And if you need help banishing boring from your content, if you feel, what I say, like content constipated or something, if you're just stuck, yeah. If you're bored, if you think perhaps your audience is bored, take a look at the engagement you're getting. Do you feel like you're having fun? Do you feel like they're having fun? If not, get in touch with me. We'll have fun as I help you work out how to create content that banishes boring from your content creation life and from the feed.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, please, guys, do go and find Ryan Mark Anderson on LinkedIn and scroll through his videos because they are truly, truly amazing. And I'm going to play out, not with your song, Ryan, but with my Hey song. But it's been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for staying longer, audience and Ryan.